Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boisters, come to you with some Platinum League Pandemonium out of the map Entombed Valley. Spying down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have fingrknitter as the red Terran. Up here in the top left-hand corner, we do have his opponent Zalgo as the blue Zerg. And yes, I understand his name is fingrknitter, but since I find it funny, and because I am, of course, the funniest person I know, I think I'm just going to call him fingrknitter, because that, I don't know, I like mispronouncing people's names because it makes it sound silly. And Zalgo, most definitely a Pokemon, probably of the electricity type, probably, I think, because it's not a pharmaceutical. Pharmaceuticals usually have at least four phrasings, and I can't really put him anywhere because, you know, ancient pantheons already have Zeus and all the lightning gods, and Zalgo just sounds like something that has to do with lightning, probably just because Z looks a lot like a lightning bolt, and let's be honest, everybody uses Z's whenever they want to do anything with lightning as a name. Whenever. It's ridiculous. It's either like Z or Blitz, but that's, of course, because Blitz is the German word for lightning, and that was a little bit of a weird tangent, but, you know, it works, Everything always happens, so we have everybody talking about, are they talking about, what are they talking about? Oh, okay. I don't know. They're talking about cities and places and stuff to go to and things like that. So I'm not even gonna. I don't know. They talked about Boston, which was the thing that really got my attention, because of course, you know, Boston's a great city, and I live close to it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to go to PAX East for it. But anyway, what? Zalgo. Your expansion's down here, buddy. Actually, no, your expansion's down here, buddy. This is, that's not your expansion. I mean, I guess you're kind of closer to the gas, but not really. I don't think you actually can physically get closer to the gas than where your hatchery is originally. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. However, this might actually be slightly faster just because it's not diagonals. It's like just a straight line down. But it's not. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing that everyone's going to be like suddenly metaing and putting hatcheries everywhere, especially because he's putting the extractor on the wrong line yet in Zalgo. Yep, that's a, yeah, that's definitely an internet conversation to have right there, Zalgo. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah. If fingrknitter, if you live in Boston, no. Oh, Cali, okay. No. Fingrknitter, you have not. That's only Colorado and somewhere else, and I can't believe I'm actually focusing this much on that conversation because, to be honest, it's fairly stupid. But then again, there's not too much going on that I can actually talk about because Zalgo is just doing some wonky shit right now, and honestly, I don't know what he's doing. I really don't. I don't think anyone knows what he's doing at this point. I think it's actually a complete anomaly for everybody. I don't even think Zalgo knows what he's doing at this point. He's kind of just figuring it out. We do, of course, have fingrknitter going for the gasless FE, which has started to come a little bit into the standard play for almost all matchups for Terran players, which is kind of interesting. Because Terran has always been that race that kind of takes their expansions slower than other races, and Zerg has always been the race that takes them extremely quickly. And now we have all of the races kind of just stepping up the rates at which they get expansions, and sometimes, you know, you even see Terran players getting them slightly earlier and slightly riskier and slightly, you know, more extravagant than Zerg players do. And, you know, we have the Zerg players kind of playing it more aggressively, and it's a cool shift in the metagame that seems to be constantly happening, where everyone's expansion timings are always in flux. It's always changing, it's always diverse, and it's something that I really love about this game. Anyway, we do have the queens coming out from the hatchery. We have the really fast layer for Zalgo. This is, of course, a 5.5 minute layer, which is a little bit on the absurd side. You almost never need a layer that fast. I can't actually imagine what I don't know what the hell he's gonna go for. Mutalisks is the only thing that I can even start to guess at, because honestly nothing else makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know. He went for a really weird strategy, because he went for like the hatch first, but he built it in his main base. He went macro hatch first, which, as most of you people probably can figure out, is fairly stupid. I would actually call it extremely stupid. It's stupider than a lot of things I have seen recently. And trust me, I see a lot of stupid stuff on a daily basis. I am in the public school system. And this is definitely in my top 5 for this week. But what died? That's a Nidus network. That is that's what that is. This is I can't. He's going for Zergling Nidus. Hey, do you like dragons? I'm trying to figure out, like, if he's trying to kind of distract fingrknitter from being able to defend against this, because dragons are worms spelt W-R-Y-M or W-Y-R-M-S. They're not worms like Nidus worm, because Nidus worms are actual worms. It looks like we do have the denial on the Nidus worm going down at the main base of fingrknitter, so that didn't work out quite according to plan for Zalgo. I don't actually think there's really a position in this base that's kind of good to drop Nidus worms in, because everywhere it has been scouted. It looks like we do have a Nidus worm coming up here, but it's not actually going to be able to finish because of Marines, or at least it shouldn't. If it does, it will not get that many units out before it goes down. And in fact, yeah, there we do have it finishing, but it goes down almost instantly. So we do have fingrknitter in a pretty great position right now. We do have the Nidus network. Oh, actually, this might work. I could see this happening, maybe. Maybe fingrknitter really should have dropped somebody up there to kind of scout out, but again, I mean, he should not have that much of an issue, because Nidus worms, this is basically an attack on the front. It looks like we do have all of the Zerglings pouring out. Now, of course, they did not actually form up before starting to attack, and you see the issue of that when you're attacking with Zerglings, because you just can't go lie in, and there's, you know, 19 Marines that just focus on one Zergling, and the next 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 Zergling, and then everybody dies. So now we are going to have him actually doing the intelligent thing, forming up a little bit of a ball of his Zerglings before actually moving out. However, he's going to need to get quite the ball up and going to really pull this one out. It looks like here we do have a little bit of a surround going down on the Marines, but with a nice siege tank positioning, he will manage to clean this up quite easily. Now, of course, he did take quite a bit of damage on his Marines from that, so it was a kind of even-ish trade, but it still was not the most efficient thing ever. It looks like the Nidus worm in the main base has been dropped, but it is not yet spewing out units. There we do have the units finally coming out. However, the high DPS from the Marines should be able to clean up the Nidus worm before it gets anything too scary. Now, of course, these Zerglings will actually be able to do a reasonable amount of damage here, because they are going to be right in the production lines, so they will be able to snipe off a little bit of production. Oh my god, there's the combat shield upgrade that might actually... No, it's not going to get sniped, because the Zerglings have ADD and decided to go after the Marines. Not the best decision in the world. There we do have more Nidus worms popping out along with Zerglings just flying out of them, but the efficiency has gone far down for our blue Zerg player, and we have him in a severe disadvantage. You know, not having a second base, wasting 1,000-ish resources on Nidus worms. Actually, no, probably 2,000-ish resources, probably 1,000 minerals and like 900 gas on Nidus worms, because those things are ridiculously expensive. Actually, it's 100. So you probably wasted like 2,000 and 1,000 of each, because that was not the best attack ever. Honestly, if you're gonna go with Nidus worms, just use them for some level of warp gate technology. For example, if the Nidus worm was right here, and then you started to attack, and you just constantly reflowed your army over with Zerglings that were popping out instantly and going right into the Nidus worm and coming right out the other side, would have worked perfectly, would have been amazing. However, with that not happening, it wasn't amazing, and it didn't work out quite well. It was actually pretty bad. I would describe that engagement as pretty bad, especially because he went for such an early Evo chamber, and then he didn't get +1 armor. He just got +1 attack, which is a little bit on the sketchy side. You do really want that +1 armor, especially when you're something like Zerglings against something like Marines, because you have so many units that benefit from the +1 armor, and you're facing so many units that, you know, get hurt by having that +1 armor. The attack, I would say, is almost worse than armor in a situation like that. I really like armor in those engagements where there's a lot of rounds flying off on both sides. Over attack, at least personally. It looks like we do have 2 supply depots going down for fingrknitters, so he is going to be nice and below the supply cap. This is going to be a pretty strong game at this point. I don't think fingrknitter is really going to be able to lose this push. It's going to be very hard. He's going to need to try to lose this push in order to lose it, because there's, what, 4 Zerglings right now? Okay, there's 4 Zerglings right now. There's a Spire on the way. There isn't even really a way for him to actually use those 4 Zerglings in any way to help out here. He has 22 Zerglings on the way, but that's still not a lot of Zerglings. In fact, I think the Marines still have a little bit of a numbers advantage there against Zerglings, which isn't quite what you want when you're a Zerg player. It looks like we do have the Night Swarm now popping up. Where's the Night Swarm coming out? Oh, it's right there at the 3rd base. So he is going to be flooding in a little bit of the Zerglings, but that's not going to work because you never want to have your units attacking when you're trying to defend, and you need every last unit to not lose your natural. You know, these guys will be able to deny the 3rd base for a little bit, but it's a command center, so it can fly, because, of course, buildings in the future have learned the technology to fly, because that's going to be easy. Come on, Blizzard. I know this is a sci-fi franchise, but flying buildings, before at least like jetpacking Marines, that doesn't make any sense. And I would just like to point out that the 6th Night Swarm apparently just came out in this game. That was the 6th Night Swarm detected, and we do have a little bit of engagement happening at the base of the ramp. The Marines taking a commanding advantage. I think like 2 Marines died in that entire engagement. Not exactly the position Zalgo wanted to be in, and this is basically going to be the cleanup for fingrknitter. I don't think there's a real way for him to lose this game. This was definitely an interesting game. I would like to thank Zalgo for whatever his plan was on doing, and I would like to thank fingrknitter for actually sending this in, because this was weird. Not quite sure why he's still in the game, but that was weird. Alright, anyway guys, if you'd like your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com, and also, if you'd like to watch any other Boisterous replays, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and this is Boisterous, signing out.